The massive holographic display in Earth's Central Command lit up with red warning signals. Captain James Walker stared at the data streaming across the screen, his weathered face growing darker with each passing second. The numbers didn't lie. Another human colony had fallen silent. This was the 15th colony in 3 months. "Sir, we have confirmation from New Hope Colony," his assistant reported, voice tight with anger. Same pattern as the others. The colonists started showing symptoms 2 days ago. By yesterday, half the population was in critical condition. Walker slammed his fist on the metal desk. For years, humanity had played nice with the Galactic Council. They had followed every rule, signed every treaty, and jumped through countless hoops to prove they were civilized enough to join galactic society. But the Council had never trusted them, never treated them as equals. Humans were just those violent primitives from that death trap planet. Now Walker had proof of what many had suspected. The Council wasn't just discriminating against humans, they were actively trying to eliminate them. He pulled up the medical data from all 15 colonies. The virus was engineered, designed specifically to target human DNA while leaving other species unaffected. It was elegant, sophisticated, and absolutely illegal under galactic law. "Get me a direct link to the Council," Walker ordered. "I want to speak to their High Commissioner." Minutes later, the holographic face of High Commissioner Drell appeared. The alien's 6 eyes blinked in that peculiar pattern that humans had learned meant annoyance. "Captain Walker," Drell's translator conveyed his words with artificial smoothness. "To what do we owe this unexpected communication?" 15 colonies, Commissioner. 15 human settlements hit with an engineered virus. Care to explain? Drell's secondary eyes narrowed. "I assume you have evidence to support these wild accusations." Walker transmitted the data. Complete genetic breakdown of the virus. Proof of artificial engineering. Distribution patterns showing it could only have been delivered by ships with Council clearance. These readings could be mistaken. Perhaps your primitive sensors. Don't. Walker's voice cut through the air like a blade. "Don't you dare try to dismiss this. We've played your games for too long. We've watched you treat us like animals while pretending to be our friends. Captain, your species' tendency toward paranoid aggression is precisely why you decided to murder innocent colonists." Walker leaned forward. Those were families, children, people who trusted the Council's promises of peace. Drell's color shifted to a deeper blue. "The Council will investigate these allegations through proper channels. If you submit a formal request, we can establish a committee to—" "No." Walker's quiet response seemed to echo through the command center. "No more committees, no more treaties, no more pretending." "Are you threatening the Council, Captain?" Walker smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Not threatening, Commissioner. Warning. Humanity joined your Council in good faith. We followed your rules. We trusted your word. That trust is gone now. Captain Walker, I strongly advise. Humanity is done playing by your rules. You should have remembered something about us, Commissioner. We didn't evolve on a death world by being weak. We didn't survive ice ages, predators, and our own violent history by backing down from fights." Walker's hand moved to a small red button on his console. "You called Earth a death world. You were right. We're Deathworlders. And you just gave us a reason to show you exactly what that means." With that, Walker cut the transmission. He turned to his staff, seeing the same cold determination in their eyes that he felt in his heart. "Send the signal," he ordered. "Activate all sleeper cells. Tell our hidden fleets to begin Operation Darkness Falls." He looked at the map of human space, where 15 points of light had gone dark. The Council wanted to see the violent primitives they always claimed we were. Fine. Let's show them what humans can really do when we stop holding back. Across the galaxy, hidden human forces began to move. The Council had made a fatal mistake. They had pushed humanity too far, forgotten that beneath the diplomatic smiles and polite words, humans were still the apex predators of their world. The war had begun. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a chamber that didn't officially exist, Earth's highest military leaders gathered around a massive stone table. The room, carved from solid granite, was designed to block any form of surveillance. This was where humanity's real decisions were made. Admiral Mary Stone stood at the head of the table, her white hair pulled back in a tight bun. The holographic display floating above the table showed the true extent of humanity's hidden strength. Fleets of ships that no alien race knew existed, weapons that had been developed in secret, and military bases buried deep within asteroids and moons. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Protocol Ragnarok is now active. Our hidden forces are in position. Before we proceed, you need to see what the Council has done to our people." The display changed, showing medical data from the infected colonies. The images were horrific. Men, women, and children suffering from a virus engineered specifically to attack human DNA. The virus was designed to be painful. Stone continued. "They wanted us to suffer. Analysis shows it was created in the Council's top-secret biological research facility in the Centauri sector." General Robert Hayes, commander of Earth's ground forces, leaned forward. "How did they get past our biological detection systems?" "They didn't." Stone's eyes hardened. "Our systems detected it immediately. But the Council had diplomatic immunity. Their ships could land on our colonies without being searched. They used our own trust against us." The room grew quiet as the implications sank in. Humanity had spent decades building trust, trying to prove they could be peaceful members of galactic society, all while the Council had been plotting their extinction. "Show them the numbers," Stone ordered. New data appeared, colony after colony, population counts dropping to zero, thousands of lives lost, families destroyed, communities wiped out. "We've confirmed that 3 more colonies were hit yesterday," Stone continued. "The Council is accelerating their plan. They think we're too weak, too disorganized to fight back." A cold smile crossed her face. "They're about to learn how wrong they are." The display changed again, showing humanity's hidden military assets. Ships built in secret deep space facilities. Weapons developed using technology the aliens thought humans were too primitive to understand. Armies trained to fight in conditions that would kill most alien species. "Operation Darkness Falls begins in 6 hours," Stone announced. "Our first targets will be their biological weapons facilities. No warnings, no demands. We hit them hard and fast. Show them exactly what Deathworlders can do." General Hayes nodded grimly. "Our troops are ready. The Council thinks their high-gravity worlds will protect them. They forget we evolved on a planet that would crush most of their species." "What about civilian casualties?" asked Colonel Thomas West, head of intelligence. "We evacuate who we can," Stone replied. "But make no mistake, this is war. The Council chose this path when they murdered our colonists. They wanted to see the primitive violence they always accused us of." "Fine. Let's show them what humanity can really do." The display changed one final time, showing tactical plans that had been prepared years ago. Humanity had always known this day might come. They had hoped for peace but prepared for war. Captain Walker's conversation with the High Commissioner was broadcast across all human settlements. Stone said, "Our people know the truth now. The rage is building. When we strike with the full fury of humanity behind us." She looked around the table, meeting each person's eyes. "They called us primitives, called our world a death trap, treated us like animals while pretending to be our friends. Now they'll learn why Earth species became apex predators, why we survived while gentler species died out." Stone pressed a button, and the display showed their first targets. "Send the orders. All ships to battle stations, all troops to their posts. In 6 hours, we show the galaxy why you don't provoke a Deathworlder." The leaders stood, each moving to their assigned stations. Above them, hidden in Earth's orbit, humanity's secret fleet prepared for war. The Council had wanted to see humanity's violent nature. They were about to get their wish. Commander Tom Reed stood on the bridge of the HSS Vengeance, watching as his stealth fleet dropped out of hyperspace. Before them loomed the Council's main biological weapons facility, a massive structure floating in the darkness of the Centauri sector. The facility's defenses were impressive, but they were designed to stop known human technology, not what humanity had kept hidden. "All ships report ready," his tactical officer announced. "Stealth systems holding. They haven't detected us." Reed nodded, his expression grim. This facility had created the virus that killed thousands of human colonists. Now it would be the first target in humanity's war of retribution. "Launch the EMP drones," Reed ordered. The Council relied heavily on energy shields and automated defenses. They were about to learn that humans remembered older, more physical ways of fighting. Hundreds of small, dark objects detached from the human ships, moving silently through space. The facility's sensors, designed to detect engine signatures and energy weapons, completely missed them. "Drones in position, ready on your marks." Reed took a deep breath. This was the moment when humanity revealed its true strength. "Execute." The drones activated simultaneously, releasing electromagnetic pulses that overwhelmed the facility's systems. Lights flickered and died. Defense systems went dark. Communication arrays fell silent. "Phase 1 complete," the tactical officer reported. "Their shields are down. Defense grid is offline. Launch boarding pods. All Marines, prepare for assault." The pods shot from the human ships, specially designed to pierce the facility's now vulnerable hull. Inside each pod, human Marines waited in powered armor that the Council didn't know existed. Armor that let them fight in conditions that would kill most alien species. Reed watched the tactical display as the pods slammed into the facility. "All units, remember your training. The gravity controls may fluctuate. The atmosphere might vent. They might release biological weapons. Doesn't matter. We're Deathworlders. We adapt. We survive." The first reports started coming in as the Marines breached the facility. The Council's security forces were completely unprepared. They had never faced humans fighting at their full capacity, using their full strength. They had never seen what happened when humans stopped holding back. "Sir," his communication officer called out, "we're picking up distress signals from the facility. They're calling for help." Reed's expression didn't change. "Jam their transmissions. No one comes to help them this time." The battle inside the facility was brutal but brief. The Council's forces, used to fighting with advanced energy weapons and automated systems, couldn't handle human Marines who were trained to fight with everything from high-tech guns to their bare hands. "Central control room secured," came the report. "We've found their research data. Downloading now." "Sir, we've captured several of their top scientists," another Marine reported. They're begging for mercy." Reed's voice was cold when he responded. "Did they show mercy to our colonists? To our children? Secure them for transport. They'll face trial for their crimes." The operation took less than an hour. When it was done, the facility that had created weapons to kill humans was under human control. The Council's supposedly unbeatable defenses had fallen to weapons and tactics they never knew humanity possessed. "Send the signal to command," Reed ordered. "First target secured. Moving to Phase 2. Across the galaxy, similar attacks were happening. Human forces struck Council facilities with devastating precision. Facilities that had never been breached fell in minutes. Defenses that were supposed to be impenetrable crumbled before humanity's hidden strength. On the bridge of the Vengeance, Reed watched as his teams planted charges throughout the facility. They had what they needed: the data, the scientists, the proof of the Council's crimes. Now they would make sure this place never created another weapon to use against humanity. "All personnel evacuated," came the final report. "Charges set." Reed looked one last time at the facility where so much death had been engineered. "Detonate." The explosions were silent in space, but the message they sent echoed across the galaxy. Humanity was done playing by the Council's rules. The Deathworlders had been provoked. And now the galaxy would see why Earth species had evolved to be apex predators. The war had only just begun. In the great chamber of the Galactic Council, panic had replaced the usual calm and order. Representatives from dozens of species argued and shouted as reports of human attacks flooded in across the galaxy. Screens showed facilities burning, defenses crumbling, and human forces displaying capabilities that should have been impossible. High Commissioner Drell stood at the central podium, his color shifting rapidly between shades of distress. Order. We must maintain order. How did they hide such forces? Demanded the representative from a high-gravity world. Their ships shouldn't be able to move like that. Their soldiers shouldn't be able to fight in those conditions. They're savages. Another counselor shouted. We should have eliminated them years ago. An emergency alert cut through the chaos. The main screen activated, showing the burning wreckage of what had been their most secure biological research facility. Standing in front of the destruction was a human in military uniform, Admiral Mary Stone. Members of the council, her voice was eerily calm. You're watching this because your facility has been destroyed. Your scientists are in custody. We have proof of your attempts to exterminate us. The chamber fell silent. For years, you called us primitive, violent, uncivilized. Stone's eyes were cold. You forgot something important. We didn't evolve on a death world by being weak. We didn't become our planet's dominant species by being gentle. Everything that makes us primitive in your eyes. Our strength, our adaptability, our determination to survive. These are the very things that make us dangerous. Drell stepped forward. Admiral Stone, surely we can discuss. The time for discussion is over. Stone cut him off. Your biological weapons killed thousands of our people. Now you'll learn why Earth species evolved to be apex predators. The transmission ended. The chamber erupted in chaos again. We need to unite our forces. Someone shouted. Stop them before. Another alert. Another screen. Another human facility destroyed. Then another. And another. How are they doing this? Drell's translator couldn't hide the fear in his voice. Their technology should be decades behind ours. In the back of the chamber, representatives from smaller, oppressed species watched silently. They had suffered under the Council's rule too, forced to accept unfair treaties, treated as inferior. Now they watched as humanity did what they had only dreamed of, fought back. The humans have breached the Arcturus defense line. A military advisor reported. They're using weapons we've never seen before. Fighting tactics our simulations said were impossible. More reports poured in. Human soldiers fighting in crushing gravity, operating in toxic atmospheres, surviving conditions that should have killed them instantly. Everything the Council thought they knew about human limitations proved wrong. They're not just attacking military targets, someone realized. They're broadcasting evidence of our crimes to every species in the galaxy, showing what we did to their colonies. Drell watched as his carefully maintained political alliance began to crumble. Already, some species were withdrawing their forces, refusing to fight against the humans. Others were secretly reaching out to Earth, offering support, sharing intelligence. We must negotiate, Drell finally shouted. Offer them concessions before. The chamber's lights flickered. The defense systems that were supposed to make this room impenetrable switched off. On every screen appeared the same message. No memori Treaties. No more warnings. When the lights came back on, representatives from 3 different species were gone, defected to the human side. They had seen the future and chosen to ally with the Deathworlders rather than stand against them. In the confusion, no one noticed the small smile on the face of the representative from a mining colony that had suffered under Council rule for centuries. Finally, someone was strong enough to challenge the Council's power. Finally, the oppressed had a champion. The humans weren't just fighting for themselves. They were fighting for every species the Council had ever looked down on, every civilization they had ever exploited. And they were winning. Drell stared at the screens showing humanity's advance, and for the first time, He truly understood what they had awakened. They hadn't just provoked a primitive species. They had provoked evolution's ultimate survivors. And now they would pay the price. Major Lisa Cooper stood at the front of the dropship as it entered the atmosphere of Centaurus IV, a high-gravity world that the Council had always considered safe from human invasion. The planet's surface gravity was 3 times that of Earth, and its atmosphere was thick with toxic gases. The Council's forces had retreated here, believing no human could survive such conditions. They were wrong. 2 minutes to landing, the pilot announced. Enemy forces are entrenched around the main fortress. Cooper checked her powered armor one last time. The suit was humanity's best-kept secret, technology that let them fight in conditions that should have killed them. Behind her, 50 Marines did the same, each wearing armor that had been tested in the harshest conditions Earth could provide. "Remember your training," Cooper addressed her troops. "They think this gravity will crush us. They think their poison air will stop us. Show them what Deathworlders can do." The dropship hit the ground hard. The doors opened, and intense gravity slammed into them like a wall. Normal humans would have been crushed. But these weren't normal humans. They were the products of generations of evolution on Earth, enhanced by technology the Council never knew existed. "Forward," Cooper ordered, and her Marines charged. The Council's forces opened fire from their fortress, energy weapons lighting up the toxic sky. But they had never faced humans fighting at full strength, never seen what Earth's soldiers could really do. Cooper's Marines moved with impossible speed despite the crushing gravity. Their armor let them breathe the poisonous air, while their enhanced muscles, trained in Earth's most punishing environments, drove them forward. "They're breaking through." The panic in the alien defenders' voices was clear. "How are they moving in this gravity? How are they still standing?" "Because we evolved on a death world," Cooper shouted back, knowing their communications were compromised. "Everything that tried to kill us on Earth just made us stronger." Her forces reached the fortress walls. The Council's defenders had always relied on the planet's natural defenses. No species should have been able to fight effectively in these conditions, but humans had spent their entire evolutionary history adapting to harsh conditions, surviving where other species failed. "Breach charges," Cooper ordered. The explosion shook the fortress, creating gaps in the supposedly impenetrable walls. Inside, the fighting was brutal and quick. The Council's forces, used to fighting with sophisticated weapons in controlled conditions, couldn't handle humans who could fight with anything, adapt to any situation, survive any environment. "Major," one of her surgeons called out, "they're falling back to the Central Command Center. They're trying to negotiate." Cooper moved forward, her armor easily handling the crushing gravity that had the alien defenders struggling to move. Through the fortress's windows, she could see more human dropships landing. The Council had thought this planet would protect them. Instead, it had trapped them. "No negotiations," Cooper replied. "They didn't negotiate when they killed our colonists. Secure the command center. Take prisoners. Show them exactly what humanity can do when we stop holding back." The battle lasted less than 2 hours. When it was done, one of the Council's strongest fortresses had fallen to forces they had dismissed as primitive. The defenders who survived stared in shock as human soldiers moved freely in conditions that should have killed them instantly. Cooper stood in the captured command center, watching as her troops secured their prisoners. On the screens around her, similar battles were taking place on other impossible worlds. Humans fighting in acid rain, operating in extreme cold, surviving conditions that the Council had thought would stop any invasion. "Send word to command," she ordered. "Centaurus IV is secured. The Council's forces are defeated. Their fortress is ours." Across the galaxy, the message was clear. The Council had hidden behind harsh environments, thinking they were safe, but they had forgotten something crucial. Humans had spent their entire history conquering exactly these kinds of conditions. Everything that made Earth a death world had just prepared humanity for this moment. The ground war was turning, and the Deathworlders were winning. Lieutenant John Hunt stood on the bridge of the HSS Thunderchild, watching as ships from former Council worlds joined the human fleet. They came in all shapes and sizes, vessels from mining colonies tired of exploitation, warships from worlds that had suffered under Council rule, and combat units from species who had seen the truth in humanity's fight. Another group approaching, his sensor officer reported. 5 ships from the Rigel system. They're requesting permission to join our forces. Hunt nodded. The Council's perfect alliance was crumbling. As proof of their biological warfare program spread across the galaxy, more species were choosing to stand with the Deathworlders. "Sir," his communication officer called out. "Message from the Proxima Defense Fleet. The Council is mounting a major offensive. They're trying to retake the sector." "How many ships?" Hunt asked, already knowing this would be the battle that changed everything. "Over 300 Council vessels. But sir, we're also detecting ships from at least 12 former Council worlds moving to support us." Hunt smiled. The Council had always feared humanity would unite other species against them. Now their fears were becoming reality. "Signal all ships," he ordered. "The Battle of Proxima begins now. Show them what an alliance of the oppressed can do." The human fleet moved forward, now joined by vessels from dozens of worlds. Species that the Council had dismissed as weak, primitive, or unimportant had united under humanity's banner. Together, they formed a force unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. "Council ships entering weapons range," Tactical reported. "They're using standard formation." "Of course they are," Hunt replied. "They never adapt, never change. That's why they'll lose." The battle opened with a massive energy barrage from the Council fleet. They expected their superior numbers to overwhelm the rebels. Instead, their shots passed through empty space as the combined fleet executed maneuvers that the Council had thought impossible. "Now," Hunt ordered, "show them what we've learned from our new allies." Human ships, using mining technology adapted for combat, tore holes in space around the Council fleet. Vessels from high-gravity worlds demonstrated maneuvers that defied conventional physics. Ships that the Council had deemed primitive revealed weapons that even humanity hadn't known existed. "Their formation is breaking," someone reported. "They didn't expect us to fight together. Didn't think we could coordinate between different species." Hunt watched as the Council fleet tried to adapt. But they had spent too long believing in their own superiority, too long dismissing other species as beneath them. Now those same species were showing them the true meaning of adaptation and survival. "Sir, the Council flagship is signaling. They're requesting terms of surrender." The bridge fell silent. This was more than just a victory in battle. This was the moment when the galaxy's power structure changed forever. "Patch them through," Hunt ordered. The Council Admiral appeared on screen, his translator barely able to hide the shock in his voice. How did you do this? How did you unite them against us?" "We didn't," Hunt replied. "You did. Every species you oppressed, every world you exploited, every civilization you called primitive. They were just waiting for someone to show them it was possible to fight back." Around them, the combined fleet moved with perfect coordination. Humans fighting alongside species they had only met weeks ago. Former enemies working together against a common oppressor. "Tell your leaders," Hunt continued, "the galaxy is changing. The age of Council dominance is over. Either adapt to the new reality or be left behind." As the Council ships surrendered one by one, Hunt looked at his crew. Humans working alongside aliens, each bringing their own strengths to the fight. The Council had feared humanity would unite others against them. In trying to prevent it, they had made it inevitable. "Send word to Earth Command," he ordered. "The Battle of Proxima is won. The Alliance holds. The Council's main fleet is defeated." Across the galaxy, the news spread. The Council's power was broken. A new order was rising, led by the species they had feared most, the Deathworlders who had learned to turn adversity into strength, and who had taught others to do the same. The war was nearly over, and the future was changing. The Great Hall of Justice, built in orbit around Earth, was filled with representatives from hundreds of worlds. Where once the Council had ruled from their distant chambers, now a new order was taking shape, forged in the fires of revolution and unity. Captain James Walker, who had first exposed the Council's treachery, stood before the assembled species. Behind him, massive screens showed evidence of the Council's crimes, the biological weapons, the secret programs, the centuries of oppression. The former Council leadership stands accused of crimes against sentient beings, Walker announced, his voice carrying across the silent chamber. The evidence has been presented. The witnesses have spoken. Now justice must be served. The accused Council members stood in a secure area, their once proud postures now broken. High Commissioner Drell, who had dismissed humans as primitive, could barely look at the gathered assembly. "You tried to destroy us," Walker continued. "Instead, you united us, every species you called primitive, every world you exploited, every civilization you tried to keep down. We stand here today as equals." Admiral Mary Stone stepped forward, her white hair now carrying more gray than when the war began. "The vote has been taken. The new Galactic Alliance has made its decision. The former Council leaders would spend the rest of their lives helping to rebuild the worlds they had damaged. Their wealth would be used to compensate their victims. Their knowledge would serve those they had once oppressed. But this is not just about punishment," Stone declared. "This is about building something new, something better." The screens change, showing the new Alliance Charter. Humans had insisted on key principles. No species would be called primitive. No world would be exploited. No civilization would be held back from reaching its potential. "We evolved on a death world," Walker addressed the assembly. "It made us strong. It made us adaptable. But most importantly, it taught us that survival comes through cooperation, through helping each other, through turning weakness into strength." Representatives from former mining colonies nodded. Their knowledge of asteroid mining had helped win crucial battles. Species from high-gravity worlds smiled. Their understanding of gravitational physics had revolutionized space combat. "The Council thought calling us Deathworlders was an insult," Stone added. "They never understood. Everything that tried to kill us made us stronger. Every challenge we faced made us more adaptable. And now we will use those strengths not to dominate, but to protect." The new alliance would be different. Earth would help other worlds develop their defenses. Human adaptability would be used to solve problems, not win wars. The strength that had defeated the Council would now build a better galaxy. "Let this be recorded in history," Walker proclaimed. "The day the Deathworlders chose peace, not because we were weak, but because we were strong enough to show mercy. Not because we had to, but because we chose to." Around Earth, the combined fleet of the Alliance stood guard. Ships from 100 worlds, flying together. Former enemies now allies. Former victims now equals. "The war is over," Stone announced. "The Council is no more, but our real work is just beginning." The screen showed new projects already underway. Humans helping high-gravity species develop better space travel. Former Council worlds sharing their technology with developing civilizations. Mining colonies teaching others how to safely extract resources. "We are all Deathworlders now," Walker concluded. "Not because we all evolved on harsh worlds, but because we all chose to rise above our challenges, to turn adversity into strength, to help others do the same." The assembly erupted in applause. Species that could never have worked together under the Council now stood united. The galaxy was entering a new age. In the secure area, Drell finally looked up. "We were wrong about them," he said quietly. "We saw their strength and feared it. We should have seen their potential to unite us. The humans had chosen war when they had to, but they had chosen peace when they could. And in doing so, they had proven themselves to be something the Council had never understood. Not just survivors of a death world, but builders of a better future." The age of the Council was over. The age of the Alliance had begun, and at its heart stood the species that had shown the galaxy that being a Deathworlder meant more than just surviving. It meant helping others thrive.